Russia has reported a massive drone attack on several regions during the night of June 9th. At least 17 drones were shot down over the Voronezh region, according to the regional branches of Russia's emergency ministry and local authorities. On the evening of June 8th, air raid alerts were declared in Russia's Samara, Tambov, and Mordovia regions due to the threat of drone attacks. Residents of the Voronezh region were warned of aerial danger at 9:59 p.m. local time. Soon after, locals in the city of Borisoglebsk reported loud explosions and sounds resembling air defense systems in operation. Witnesses said the noises came from the direction of the local airport. According to Russia's defense ministry, between 10 p.m. and midnight, 17 drones were shot down in the airspace over the Voronezh region. Details on damage, casualties, or the full scope of the attack have not yet been disclosed. However, given the number of drones involved, this may be one of the largest assaults on the region in recent weeks. Explosions were also reported in Russia's Samara and Tambov regions. Earlier, Russian forces attempted to conceal vehicles and engineering equipment in a shelter, but a Ukrainian FPV drone managed to penetrate and strike the hidden position. On June 7th, Ukrainian forces hit a locomotive transporting a convoy of Russian military equipment. Overnight in Russia's Saratov region, a freight locomotive caught fire. A Russian armored column attempted to storm Ukrainian positions but was swiftly detected by UAV crews of the 14th Separate UAV Regiment. Charlie Company struck the vehicles, halting the assault. Survivors were eliminated in nearby tree lines. One strike caused a rare double BMP detonation. Ukrainian drones are changing the battlefield. Small, cheap FPV drones loaded with explosives fly directly into Russian tanks and armored vehicles, targeting weak spots like engine decks or open hatches. Recon drones first locate the target, then operators remotely guide kamikaze drones to strike with pinpoint accuracy. Even heavily armored tanks can't withstand these precise hits. This tactic is low-cost, high-impact, and it's devastating Russian forces daily. And this is a short story about Ukrainian special services. From the shattered remnants of its intelligence agencies in 2014, Ukraine has forged one of the most formidable covert forces on Earth. With initial assistance from the CIA, what began as a desperate rebuilding effort has blossomed into a sophisticated global operation, drawing comparisons to Israel's famed Mossad. Ukraine's message to the Kremlin is stark and unwavering: you are no longer safe. Not in Moscow, not in Africa, not anywhere. After Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014, Ukraine's spy services were in disarray, riddled with moles and dysfunction. The CIA stepped in, providing training, investing millions into covert capabilities, and aiding the reconstruction of Ukraine's defense intelligence, HUR. By 2025, the results are undeniable and increasingly audacious. Ukrainian intelligence services are reportedly assassinating generals in Moscow, blowing up Russian bombers with drones disguised in delivery trucks, arming rebel factions in Syria, playing a significant role in the elimination of 80 Wagner mercenaries in Mali, actively engaging Wagner forces in Sudan. This expanding reach is part of a deliberate psychological warfare campaign aimed at dismantling the perception of Russian invincibility and demonstrating Kiev's ability to hunt down Russian war criminals wherever they may be. In a striking example of Ukraine's growing capabilities, the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, launched Operation Spiderweb in June 2025. This covert mission saw 117 drones smuggled into Russia, resulting in the destruction of 13 strategic bombers and an estimated $7 billion in damages. The targets hit were an astounding 4,000 kilometers away, showcasing Ukraine's deep strike capabilities. At the helm of Ukraine's defense intelligence, HUR, is General Kyrylo Budanov, a figure who embodies the new, aggressive posture of Ukraine's intelligence services. If you're asking about Mossad as being famous for eliminating enemies of their state, then we were doing it, and we will be doing it, Budanov stated unequivocally. We don't need to create anything because it already exists. The HUR's symbol itself is a defiant declaration, an owl piercing Russia's heart. This is a direct retort to Russia's Spetsnaz motto, "Above us only stars." Ukraine's answer, "Only the wise rule the stars." Budanov reportedly even keeps live owls at his base, reinforcing the symbolism. The Kremlin's attempts to smear the emblem as fascist and extremist have largely fallen flat. Ukraine's expanding operational footprint, reaching from Africa to the Middle East, is sending a powerful signal to the international community. As noted by At War in the Future, a former Australian Major General, this growing reach demonstrates that the West has far less to fear from Russia than it imagines. While the US initially harbored fears of escalation, Ukraine has consistently embraced it, repeatedly crossing Russia's perceived red lines, and, in doing so, exposing the Kremlin's bluff. The Kremlin's characteristic silence in response to many of these actions is telling, as acknowledging Kyiv's growing power and reach would undermine its own narrative of dominance. In the years to come, NATO intelligence services are expected to view their Ukrainian counterparts not as students, but as peers, recognizing the unparalleled combat experience and innovative tactics they have developed. Ukraine has already demonstrated a remarkable ability to punch above its weight, a testament to a nation that, as current CIA Director John Ratcliffe recently described, is willing to fight with their bare hands if they have to, if they don't have terms that are acceptable to an enduring peace. Both the West and Russia are still grappling with the true nature of Ukraine's resilience and determination. Russia is manufacturing over 5,000 long-range drones every month, half of which are real Shahed drones, while the rest are decoys. This information was provided by the press service of Ukraine's defense intelligence in response to a request from Forbes Ukraine. As of late May 2025, the production rate of Shahed 136/Geranium-2 drones is approximately 2,700 units per month. The production of decoy UAVs, such as those of the Gerber type, stands at around 2,500 units monthly. For reference, back in January 2025, Russian forces launched 2,611 Shaheds and decoys. By May 27th, that number had already reached 3,828 UAVs. It's worth noting that Russia began deploying decoy drones alongside real ones in the fall of 2024. Gerber-type UAVs are made from cheap materials, lack a warhead, or carry only a small explosive charge. Head of the Russian negotiation delegation, Vladimir Medinsky, "Our people demand far tougher actions. We need an Oreshnik scorched earth tactic for Kiev, for Lviv, enough talks. It's very difficult for us in this regard," he said, commenting on negotiations with Ukraine.
Indeed, our population, our citizens demand much harsher actions from us. It was very difficult for us to go to the second round of negotiations when Ukraine deliberately, on the day of our departure, blew up a passenger train, causing the death of civilians and children. You see, sometimes when a missile is headed toward a military target, electronic warfare is activated, it deliberately diverts the missile and it explodes, hitting a nearby house. This is part of war, it is a tragedy. Sometimes a missile is shot down, debris falls on residential buildings, people die. This also happens, but it's terrible, but it's part of war. And when a passenger train, I believe a double-decker, which is visible from afar, a huge passenger train, and the person who blows up the railway and highway manually, seeing this train, presses the button. The button was pressed manually. And this is terrorism. This is not a train with tanks. It's not even a train with fuel. It is clear that this is a passenger train. And he deliberately kills civilians in peaceful territory. Of course, after this, it is...
И это злит русских.
Yes. And of course, after that, citizens demand we need to target Kyiv, Lviv, enough negotiations, and it's very difficult for us in this regard.
Russia intends to test NATO's resolve, in particular by extending its confrontation with Western countries beyond Ukraine. Bruno Kahl, head of the Federal Intelligence Service, stated this, Reuters reports. According to him, the agency has clear intelligence indications that Russian officials believe the collective defense obligations enshrined in the NATO treaty no longer had practical force. We are quite certain, and we have intelligence showing it, that Ukraine is only a step on the journey westward, Kahl said. Meanwhile, he emphasized that it did not mean that Russian tank armies would move to the west. But we see that NATO's collective defense promise is to be tested, Kahl added. Without detailing the nature of his intelligence sources, Kahl said Russian officials were envisaging confrontations that fell short of a full military engagement that would test whether the U.S. would really live up to its mutual aid obligations under Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty. They don't need to dispatch armies of tanks for that, he said. It's enough to send little green men to Estonia to protect supposedly oppressed Russian minorities, Kahl said, referring to Russia's occupation of Crimea in 2014. Kahl noted that contacts with his American colleagues had convinced him that they took the Russian threat seriously. They take it as seriously as us, thank God, he said. In early April, Bundeswehr announced the launch of the 45th Armored Brigade, Panzer Brigade 45, in Lithuania. Its main task is to guarantee the defense, freedom, and security of Lithuanian allies on NATO's eastern flank. Another key element of the alliance's structure, which plays an important role in ensuring security and stability in the Baltic Sea region, is NATO Multinational Corps Northeast, headquartered in Szczecin, Poland.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.